The Retro Lounge is a look back into the archives of the Recruiters Lounge podcast with Jim Stroud and Karen Mattinen. The Recruiters Lounge podcast posted weekly between the years of 2005 and 2010. With energy, wit, and opposite points of view, Jim Stroud and Karen Mattinen discussed, debated, and squabbled like children over HR issues that affected the workplace and society overall for the benefit of all who would listen. This podcast originally aired December 10th, 2008. The title at that time was Podcast Sex at the Office? Is it a wonderful thing? And this is the description that I had. In this episode, Jim and Karen have dubbed this episode The Sex Show, and this is why. Doctors say that office parties bring unwanted pregnancies and STDs. Who knew it was such a busy season for them? Plus, a Hilton employee walks in on a literal orgy of Hilton company execs, informs HR, and then gets fired. She is now suing for the big bucks. Jim says, wow, my last office party was pretty lame in comparison. And Karen explains the level of comfort and other unwritten rules that are required to participate in an orgy. To which Jim said, how do you know? Yeah, this is one of our weirdest podcasts to date. Enjoy it after this message.
Employer brand professionals know that doing great work involves doing big, high-level strategic thinking and getting your hands dirty. If that sounds like the kind of work you want to do, come listen to the Talent Cast. It's the world's most highly caffeinated employer brand podcast.
Do you love four-letter words?
Who doesn't? And then you mix recruiting news and insights in with those four-letter words.
I'm Cheese.
And I'm Chad.
And we are the Chad and Cheese Podcast.
Tune in wherever you listen to podcasts. We out.
Radio Innovative audio on demand.
Hi, I'm Jim Stroud.
And this is Karen Mattinen, and welcome to the Recruiters Lounge.
The Recruiters Lounge is a podcast of news, interviews, and commentary on the recruiting industry, and it was designed with you in mind. So sit back, relax, and enjoy your time in the Recruiters Lounge.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome
Jim,
to...
before you start this podcast, I got a question to ask you. Remember that thing you were telling me about, that thing?
What thing?
That we were talking about, and I was telling my friend about it. It was the one about the thing that you were talking about.
You saying the thing. What are you talking about?
What are you talked about on Starbucks, that one?
When I was telling you?
Yeah.
My secret weapon?
Friend about it. Can you talk about that?
My secret weapon I told you not to tell anybody about?
Oops.
Yes.
Now, yeah, got it more. Come on. What's that thing called?
Well, if you don't tell anyone, it's called Talent Hook.
That's the one.
Yes. Talent Hook is... It's a great tool. I can search 1,850 plus internet resume resources, pay boards, free boards, search engines, niche sites. I can automate it.
It's OFCCP compliant too, isn't it?
And it is OFCCP compliant. I don't tell people about Talent Hook because that's how I get my work done, and I'm able to do other things, like this podcast, for example. So don't tell people about Talent Hook. I'm trying to keep it to myself.
Okay.
All right. Now let's start the show.
Hey, Jim, wait, before we go on, because I told everybody already, so might as well just...
www.talenthook.com. TALENTHOOK.com. Talent Hook.
Sorry.
Just like it sounds.
I apologize, okay?
Yeah. On with the show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Just like I say it all the time, I need to come up with a different phrase, but no matter how I say it, you're here, the Recruiters Lounge. I'm your host, Jim Stroud, and with me, as always, my good friend, Karen Mattinen. How are you, Karen?
Hello, everybody!
Well, aren't you the hyper person today?
Yes, I always am.
You know, more often than not, you are. I don't know if that's good or bad. That's just how it is.
Well, somebody told me that they thought I was kind of a little bit on the insane side, and I thought, maybe that is true.
Are you quoting me directly now?
Well, yeah, but they said, well, no, because this person said that being insane is not a bad thing. You always kind of imply that it's a bad thing. See, See, they said it because it's the passion that creates drive.
Ah, okay.
It's the passion that creates motivation. It's that insanity that makes people become motivated.
Okay, so you're equating passion to insanity.
Well, pretty much. You have to have some kind of insanity when you're starting, like being an entrepreneur. I mean, you've got to be able to drive and be motivated and keep going 100% and drive everybody else to have the same passion as you do.
Is that the right word, though? Wouldn't it be better to say you're obsessed, maybe?
That's insanity.
Obsession is not insanity.
That's a form of insanity, dude.
How is it a form of insanity?
That's a compulsive behavior. I mean, think about it. When you got obsessed people who stalk you, would you say they're sane people?
Well, guess not.
Okay.
They say, I'm your number one fan.
Anything that's compulsive is a better form of insanity. Dude, I will admit, I'm insane as heck.
I wouldn't say insane.
Okay, you are sweet. I'm crazy then. What's that?
Yeah, let's go with that.
All right. I like that. Okay, cool.
I was reading this news report earlier today about office parties. Mm-hmm. And actually, there was a couple things that I read. One was I read about this doctor's report. He was just talking about how unwanted pregnancies and sexually transmitted diseases often accompany office Christmas parties.
We're going to talk about sex again. We love it. Every show, at least once a week.
Okay, well, this would be the sex show.
Okay, this is the sex show today. Okay.
The sex show today.
Okay.
I read this report. The doctor said that people come by and get checkups. This is like a busy season for them because after the office parties, people come by to check up to make sure that they didn't take any extra presents home.
I think like companies keep trying to stop office parties. A lot more companies every year quit the kibosh. They put the kibosh on the office party.
I hope not. If anyone's interested in reading this article, the address for it is Bud URL.
Like Budweiser URL.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good one.
That's a beer, but I like this, though it's not associated with the beer. But,
yeah, but I know. Kind of ironic, though.
Yeah, it is ironic. BudURL.com/M9J5. Bud,
that's a tiny URL website address.
Hold on, let me say because some people may want. Oh, you know what? That was the wrong address.
Oh.
This is the right address. See, you got me confused. The correct address is budurl.com/LH4U. LH4U.
For you, okay. Lots of love for you, huh?
Yeah, but I'm digressing. Let me get back on point. So after reading that article about doctors saying this is a busy season for them because all the office party romps going on and all these, I'll say all of these, but the occasions of unwanted pregnancies and sexually transmitted diseases, as I was reading that, I came across another article which was even more fascinating. It seems like this employee from Hilton, the hotel, Hilton Hotels.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it seems like this woman is suing the Hilton Hotels chain for harassment by orgy.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah,
that was one that had me like, okay, I think I've heard it all now. But it seemed like she walked in to this ballroom party where all these executives are, and everyone there were from upper management, and they were drunk and having a sexual free-for-all.
Not all upper management was in the party.
Well, not all entirely, but she walked in, and there were members of upper management in the party getting their freak on.
Right.
And so she left.
We got to clarify this too. They were actually on tables getting their freak on.
Exactly. And she was terribly horrified after seeing this orgy in effect. So she marched right up to HR and complained about how she walked into this company party and everybody was drunk.
Threatened. Well, you missed a part. She was threatened.
I didn't hear that part. And I heard. Now, this is what I heard, and you can get out what you heard. I heard that she walked in, saw the sex going on, was horrified, went to HR, and then she was fired.
Well, what happened is she walked out. Another manager came up to her and said that she was going to be fired. That's when she went to HR. She went to HR because she said she was threatened by the manager. She was going to be fired because she had witnessed the orgy.
And, she's seeking at least, well, before I even announce what she's suing for, how much money is it worth? How much money would you sue for if you walked in on an orgy?
Actually, I think her lawyer when I read the actual PD, I saw the actual court.
You
and I thought her lawyer is probably a numbskull. I mean, they could have gotten her for wrongful termination.
Right.
Could have gotten him for sexual misconduct, and I mean, there's a lot of other things that he could have taken. But this harassment by orgy, I think that there was
is that even? I mean, this is a precedence, right? I mean, has this?
Yeah, I mean, it's like one person said, this harassment by orgy. Is it like one guy said that's a joke? Is it because she's jealous that she wasn't asked to come in?
Well, see, that's all subjective, but it may be some credence to that. Let me finish telling this part. Now, the person who walked in on them was a woman, and she was a night manager for the hotel restaurant. So maybe she was coming to lock up or something. I don't know. But she's seeking, according to this article, at least $50,000 in damages, which is under the Minnesota Human Rights Act. So
yeah, I mean, I still don't get the harassment by orgy part. That to me, it was like, I mean, there's so many other things they could have gone for, and especially with the wrongful termination and a bit of they could have gotten the harassment and the whistleblower act, whatever it was. I could have seen a hell of a lot more.
Well, one thing is that as I was reading through this argument, it was that this article is that it was unclear how the sexual conduct was directed at her. It was there. I mean, there wasn't any evidence of saying, hey. I mean, it was like, did she just walk in, like walking in on somebody in the bathroom and so, oh, you're using the bathroom, I can't believe it. Or she just walked in the room and they were all having sex. She was like, oh, I can't believe it.
But they were in the ballroom.
Okay, yeah.
They were in the ballroom. That's appropriate conduct, no matter what.
Well,
okay?
That's improper. It is improper. Wondering, did they ask her to join, or is she mad because they didn't ask her to join? I don't know.
I mean, the thing about here's another thing. But the thing is, it's like, I asked my son, okay, he works in a hotel. I said, would you sue? He said, nah, it wouldn't be worth it. I wouldn't have enough money for it. It wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah.
I laughed about that because, I mean, I'm looking at this aspect and go, okay, for some people who are extremely religious, that could be very traumatic. And I mean, seriously, if I think of some of my ex-bosses, if I actually saw them naked, the thought of that would be still repulsive. Yeah, that alone, I probably would want to just go ahead and sue just for that alone. I mean, that would give me a nightmare for the rest of my life. You know what I mean?
Right.
But for some people who have high standards or high moral values or whatever, that kind of behavior would be consistent to sexual harassment. In a literal sense of the word,
Right.
I mean, that definitely is sexual harassment. I mean, you can't get along around. I mean, something like that doesn't belong in the workplace.
Well, you know what? It's just funny as you read through the suit, and I'm gonna give everybody a link that they can read this themselves. But I mean, there's like no date in this. So like, I imagine when you're gonna pull
also December of last year, 2007, I think it was.
Right. They don't get, but in the suit itself, there's no date of when this orgy occurred, and it doesn't say who specifically was said orgy, at least not by the lawsuit that I'm looking at here.
Exactly.
So
those names were part of it. There's a bunch of names at the very part of the PDF file. They're supposed to be the employees that worked there. I wonder if there were all the ones that were in there. I don't know. Now, I never thought about that until just now that you mentioned that, because there's a bunch of names that said that the people who were working there. I mean, did they do that to keep it private? I don't know.
Well, can't you put a seal on that so you can't see who's being sued?
I don't know. I mean, there are gag orders, but usually gag orders come out after the fact. I don't know. I mean, they could request a gag order during the process, but nobody did, unless this is why the names haven't come out, because there is a gag order.
Can you imagine trying to get a job, and after this hits the fan, and it gets in your history somewhere that you were in a lawsuit because you were getting your freak on in a public place?
Well, here's another thing too. I'm surprised that her lawyer didn't ask for this to have a gag order, because I mean, she's a whistleblower. I would want, if for $50,000 for sure, I would want to
she wants at least $50,000 for this.
Yeah, at least, and so that's not that much. Okay, she probably will get that. I'm sure Hilton's going to settle probably for hundreds.
It's probably at that price is easier to pay her to go away.
You want to, because it's going to cost that much just to try to go ahead and go to court.
Right. Now, if the lawyer is ambitious, then he'd say, no, let's go for it, and then...
But $50,000 isn't worth it. I mean, you'd want to go for $1 million at least.
I'm saying, he might want to roll the dice and say, we can go for the millions and forget about this petty $50,000 or $100,000.
I know. I mean, obviously she's gotten a right to sue, so that means that there must have been an investigation by one of the state government officials to go ahead and say that there's probably something of substance there.
All you gotta do is roll the tape. I mean, don't they?
I'm sure there's a video. I don't know. I mean, this is
on
kind of ridiculous.
Somewhere, right?
I mean, I would just like to know, how does office management get so friendly that they all agree to do an orgy all at the same time?
Maybe they were with their wives. Maybe they wasn't with girlfriends or coworkers.
Yeah, but even so, I mean, you got to be really liking friends. You got to be really, really close as friends in an office to be able to say, let's go ahead and have an orgy in a ballroom at the Hilton. I mean, that's weird.
I cannot imagine.
I can't
even imagine doing that with people like that.
Husband for this. No, it's not because I'm a moralistic person. I mean, I don't do it because of me. That's me standards. Okay, that's it. Okay, but I can't even think of cheating on my husband, or even thinking about being with another human being, far less being that close to someone at work to say, let's have sex, far less let's have sex with 6 other people.
And they're all looking at you? That's just so bizarre to me.
Yeah, I know. I mean, okay, we obviously we're showing either our age or
we're prudes or something.
Or prudes, I guess. Hey, I know that I've been known to be the prude around here, okay? Everybody's going to be enforcing that, okay?
I don't think it's really prudish. I think it's just having good morals.
Oh, by the way, well, actually, because I did vote vote no for Proposition 8. I wanted to see, I feel that gay men should have been able to get married. That's me personally. I do believe that religion and state should not be included. And if I have to be miserable with a man, why can't a man be miserable with a man?
We're not going to go political, but let me, because we're running out of time on top of that. But let me tell people this link, if they want to go check out this story, so you guys know we didn't make this stuff up. You can go to budurl.com/HB58. That's budurl.com/HB58. And you can read about all the assorted little details and download the PDF of the suit and just find out how strange your...
Well, there's some really interesting pictures on some of the websites out there, so if you guys want to go ahead and kind of do a search on it, you'll actually find some people with some nice, interesting blogs that have some cool pictures.
No way.
Yeah, there's some really...
Pictures from this event online?
Yeah, there's some really interesting... Not photos.
I'd be surprised by that. I shouldn't be surprised.
I'm talking about pictures, like the old things that corny cartoons that are being made about it.
Oh, cartoons, but not like...
They're hilarious.
But not pictures from the actual event, right?
No. That would be interesting, though, wouldn't it?
That'll be on the Playboy channel next week, probably.
I'm serious. Or Hustler, for sure. Oh, I only buy those for the articles.
There are no articles in Hustler.
Playboy does, though.
Yeah, you can somewhat make that argument with Playboy, but you can't make that with Hustler.
I don't get Hustler, but doesn't Hustler have articles?
I don't know.
Penthouse does, I'm sure.
They have. I don't know.
I know Playboy does because I definitely do get Playboy, and they have awesome articles.
Yeah.
I'm serious. How do you think I ever learned?
You're losing the prude argument right there. All right, so we're going to end it right here for Karen gets herself in more trouble. Until next time, see you guys here tomorrow. Well, okay, because we're working on this experiment where we're podcasting every Monday through Friday. I'm not sure what time. Maybe noon. Yeah, let's go for noon. Every noon. Nah, I don't want to say noon. I'm not sure. But every new day, there'll be a podcast.
I got a question.
For the foreseeable future.
Quick question.
What?
One of these days, if this works out, we might actually consider doing live.
Doing a live show?
People calling in.
That's a thought.
Maybe. I got to prove myself here.
You know what?
What?
We'll go by how many people email us and say go live. If you want to email me directly, email me at jim@therecruiterslounge.com or Karen@therecruiterslounge.com.
See, guys, I have my own email address, but he wants me to use his. That's okay.
Aren't you special?
I'm telling. He likes to moderate me.
Yeah. On that note, we will go bye-bye. So bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's it for this show. You've been a wonderful audience. If you like what you heard, love what you heard, or just plain hate what you just heard, let me know. Your feedback matters. You can reach me through my website at jimstroud.com/podcast. That's JIMSTROUD.com/podcast. So until next time, I'm Jim Stroud, and you're not.
Radio Talent Zoo. Innovative audio on demand.
And so this ends this edition of the Retro Lounge, home of classic episodes of the Recruiters Lounge podcast. If you haven't already, subscribe now so you don't miss a future episode. Okay? Cool. Until next time, bye-bye.